Lancy remix, page 444.
Welcome back, take 444. This week I'm going to be looking at some psychedelic compilations. It's the first in a series of I'm not sure how many, but I'm going to rattle through a few compilations. I have a lot of psychedelic compilations, but I'll just go through a few at a time. These will be interspersed with the usual A to Z, just for a bit of variation really. So I'm going to start off with the granddaddy of them all, and the first one I bought this in about 1982. This is the 1972 Lenny K Nuggets original artifacts from the psychedelic era. It came out in 72 on Electro. I'm sure you all know it. It's very famous. It started the trend off, which then went to rubble and pebbles and all of those. There's one called boulders as well, which I have. If you don't know it, this is absolutely essential. In the background we have Peanut Butter Conspiracy doing their thing. It's got an absolutely all-time classic list of psychedelic tracks. Electric Prunes. Who else? We got Shadows of Night, the Seeds, of course. The Castaways, the Elevators t-shirt. The Count 5, the Leaves. The Amboy Dukes, Blues Magoos, Chocolate Watch Band, the Third Rail, Sagittarius, and the Magic Mushrooms. Like I say, absolutely essential. So this came out in 72. That's an original copy. This is not vinyl, but I'm just going to show these. This came out in 1998. This is a CD box of how many? Four CDs with a huge booklet. Expanding on it, the first CD is the original album, and then there's 3 more volumes which expand on and taking up singles, and I think there might be 1 or 2 album tracks from up to 65 to 68. If you like this sort of thing, that's definitely worth picking up. That came out on Rhino. Also came out on Rhino around the same time. Can't see the date on this. Is Children of Nuggets, which is stuff that was released of a psychedelic bent from 76 to 96. Again, fantastic booklet inside, and the CDs. These are still around, not too hard to find. 4 volumes, the CDs of stuff from around the world. But new psychedelia. Then came this box, which is Nuggets 2. So this is another 4-volume box of stuff from the British Empire and beyond. It says 1964 to 69. So this is similar to the original Nuggets. Was just the US. There was nothing from Europe, nothing from the UK. This is stuff from, as it says, the UK, and it says the Empire. There wasn't much of an empire left by then, but that would be including Australia and places like that. So this has got the Misunderstood, all the usual ones, the Smoke, Blossom Toes, all of those, and it's fantastic, great stuff. Really worth picking up if you can find it. Last year, I think it was, on Record Store Day, became the 50th anniversary. No, it must have been 2 years ago now. 50th anniversary box of the original Nuggets, plus a volume 2 that was proposed but never came out. That's this one. And this has got Loving Spoonful and Love and Balloon Farm, Beau Brummel's Music Explosion. That's the track listing. and it's shot up in price since it came out. It was fairly expensive when it came out, I think, but it's shot up. So it had 2 volumes and then a third disc, which is the one that's playing, which has got some other great stuff on it. So this is actually for 10. So this is actually 10 slabs of vinyl in here, or 10 sides of vinyl, and it's really, really good. It comes with posters and a booklet and all that sort of thing, and it's sort of iridescent. Yeah, cool stuff. Don't miss it if you can. Find it still. Next up, these are all just in slightly random order, just as I pull them out. My main collection is alphabetized A to Z, with a separate bit for soundtracks and jazz, but my compilations are just all the psychedelic stuff is together, but and the other albums that I have, compilations are separate, but they're not in any particular order. So this is Psychedelic Crown Jewels Volume 1. I'm not sure if there was a Volume 2, but I don't have it. So this came out on Akama in about 98, so this is quite old. The label's been going quite a long while. Comes in this textured sleeve, quite a cool fractal on the front there, and that's the track listing, so it's very good. It's got Magic Ship, Morning Dew, Bow Street Runners, 50-Foot Hose, the Baroques, Mystic Tide, Flat Earth Society, Fame Jane, Bohemian Vendetta, The Human Expression. Lots of fantastic tracks on this. I'm sure it's well, it was probably fairly limited. I'm sure you can pick it up somewhere, but it's probably quite hard to get hold of now. Psychedelic Crown Jewels Volume 1. Next up, again in no particular order, is Artificial Faces, Mutant Freakadelic Sounds for the Now Psych Generation, it says. And who am I to argue? So that's the label on black vinyl. So this came out on Crazy Apple Boutique Records. I think this might be their. I think they only released like 3 or 4 albums. That label. So this is stuff from the US and Europe. Pretty obscure. I mean, there are a couple of. This is the track listing on the back there. There are a couple of names that stand out that I've heard of. Giant Crab, who became Ernie Joseph in Big Brother later on, or one of them did. But pretty much everything else. Enchanted Forest, I've heard of them, and the Hobbits, obviously. But most of the other stuff is very obscure. So it's French and Spanish generally, no UK stuff. But it's quite good there, and it's got a picture of the original sleeves. That it's pretty good. You should be able to pick this up still. Artificial Faces. It's about 20 years old, or 15, 20 years old now. Next up is Psychedelic Minds Volume 1, Heavy Underground, 67 to 71. A lot of these just got great sleeves, they really have. So this is even more obscure stuff. So that's the inner sleeve with some info on there. The only 2 people I'd heard of are Bhagavad Gita. Actually, that was the only one, I think. Yeah, and they did an album which came out in 68. Let me just check. They did an album under the name of the National Gallery. That's the one. So I've got that album. It's I'll show it when I get round to the ends. It's an album of sort of improvised music that came out to go with, I think it was actually, they were performing live in an art gallery in somewhere in North America, to the paintings of Paul Klee, or Clay, and it's some weird stuff. It's their only album, as I know, as I've heard of, and this is them in a different, under a different name, the Bhagavad Gita. So, but I mean, on here there's bands called Black Rock, Sound Machine, Yesterday's Obsession, the Protein Brothers, which is a fantastic track. This is a really, really good album if you can find it. Absolutely highly recommended. On World of Sound, that's the label. World of Sound is the label, and there's some absolutely storming tracks on it. Some of it is kind of Hendrixy, but it's all definitely their own kind of stuff. There's nothing on here that's that sort of covers or anything like that. It's all really, really good. This is a German release. World in Sound is the label. Fantastic. If you can find it, pick it up. Next up is quite a well-known album in the UK, A Splash of Colour. This came out in 1981. On actually not sure what label it's on. So that is the label. I also know what label that is, but I can't see. Oh, WEA. Yeah, 1981. This was the response to a very short-lived psychedelic revival in London in 1981 around a nightclub called Gossips, where the DJ was a chap called Clive Jackson, who became the doctor in Doctor and the Medics. It's a place I used to frequent. I was involved in this in this scene, as it were, back in my youth. And it was great fun, and it was very good. The music was so-so. Nothing absolutely standout comes to mind, but it was good, and it was where I heard a lot of psychedelic music for the first time. So on here we have Mood 6, Miles Over Matter, The Times. The Doctor is doing a couple of voiceovers, and it's very good. And it's pretty easy to pick up. There was a double or triple CD released of this with more tracks from 1981 a few years ago, which I also have, and it's pretty cool. Next up, I've got a couple of things on Bam Caruso. I'm not sure if I showed these when I did my Bam Caruso video, but so this one's, they're both samplers. This is number 2. This is Illusions from the Crackling Void. And that is the back cover. So this has got the Kubas, Aquarian Age, with Twink, Nirvana, Wimple Winch, Mandrake Paddle Steamer, Pretty Things, Left Bank, SRC, all absolutely classic UK psych. SRC obviously an American band, as are the Left Bank. You should all know those, I'm sure you do. Next up is Passing Phase. So this is sampler number 3. That's the label back on Bam Caruso with some of their catalogue on the back. So this has got July, Nirvana, Mandrake Paddle Steamer, John's Children, The Seeds, The Attack. Fantastic stuff. It's Only a Passing Phase, it's called. And this is another, I said there were 2, but actually 3 Bam Caruso samplers. This is the first one. So I've shown them out of order, but what the hell. So this is Back at the Ranch. Big Dan was fighting for his life. This has got stuff from the 80s. So this has got Palace of Light, Paul Rowland, The Fortunate Sons, Nick Hafner, Tortilla Flats, that kind of thing. Band Caruso label there. So I can't remember which band it is. I think one of these is The Damned under a different name. They certainly recorded some stuff for Band Caruso, as I recall, but I can't remember which one it is. That's the track listing. Next up we have, this was, I believe, the second psychedelic compilation after Nuggets that I bought back in 1981-82, and that is Psychedelic Unknowns. They hadn't quite got the idea of how to do a psychedelic sleeve back then. This was their attempt. It's almost like a new wave version of what they thought psychedelia was. They had no idea. So this came out in 1979, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's got the Calico Wall, I'm a Living Sickness, Apothecary Dream by the Sandwich. If you know those tracks, it's worth buying just for those. Psychedelic Siren by the Daybreaks, which is fantastic. Caretakers of Deception. Those are the kind of Painted Ship are on here. That's the track listing. 1979, very early psychedelic revival. It came out then on Calico Records, or Calico Records, and it's brilliant. Well worth picking up. I'm not sure if you can find it anymore. So that was Psychedelic Unknowns #1. I only have one other of those, that series, and that is this one, Psychedelic Unknowns Volume 6. And they've kind of got the hang of the sleeves by then. Not sure when this came out. So this has got a lot of stuff that is pretty obscure. The Flies, Magic Mushrooms, the Snaps. It's on Scrap Records. There's no date on it. Beautiful Days, City Jungle. That is a fantastic track. If you don't know that one, that's one of my favourite psych tracks. City Jungle by the Beautiful Days. Brilliant track. Next up, again, this is the only one of this series that I have, and that's Cornflake Zoo. This is episode 1, volume 1 of that. So these are limited edition, but they're fairly easy to get hold of. I think there are a lot of these. There are probably 20 volumes of this, I think. It's on yellow vinyl, on Particles Records, which I'm not sure how legitimate that is. It comes with an insert with some info, and it's pretty good. It's very difficult to read in this light. Anyway, so I'm sure a lot of you have seen this series. Cornflake Zoo. I haven't got any of the others. They tend to, as with a lot of these series, once you get past about volume 3 or 4, they become they're very much scraping the bottom of the barrel, and I don't always pick them up, depending on how I feel, mostly. So next up is something that came out 2 or 3 years ago, probably, and that is Tea and Symphony. This is great. This is English Baroque sound, 68 to 74. Lots of line notes in there and labels. As it says, English Baroque sound. So on here you have Nirvana, Gordon Waller, who's quite well known, Colin Blunstone, actually the singer from the Zombies and Say You Don't Mind, which was quite a big hit in the UK. Honey Bus, who are on here. Mike Batt, who became who was in the Wombles and was responsible for that, and Clifford T. Ward, who was in quite a few bands in the 60s and was in Factory, who did Path Through the Forest, which is a classic UK psych album. Bill Kenwright is on here as well, who I think he's just passed away recently. He was a theatre impresario, and I think he was chairman or owner of Everton Football Club. Slightly weirdly. Next up and lastly is Volume 1 of Fading Yellow. So this is a double album, as was the last one. Lots of info on there. This is limited to 500. Never sure about those limited edition numbers, because if it sells well, they could quite easily produce another 100 and still number them. Nobody would know. So this is Timeless Pop Psych and Other Delights 65 to 69. They released a lot of these on single albums. There's a lot of volumes of Fading Yellow, but this is all I have. So this has got, who do I know on here? Sun Dragon, Paul and Barry Ryan, the Erevons, but most, the Orange Bicycle and the Kubas are on here. And Mike Batt as well again, but most of the stuff is very obscure and I don't know a lot about them, but it's good stuff, and it's named after one of the tracks on here, which is by Mike Batt, called Fading Yellow. But it's pop psych. It's more pop than psych, but it has psychedelic flourishes and is worth picking up. That's all for now. I shall be trawling through some more soon, so stay tuned and see you then.